Hey everyone, Steve here from Steve's Customize Engrave, coming to you from Davenport, Florida. Today we're going to talk about troubleshooting when your printer suddenly stops printing and stops printing midway through the print process. So let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing to check when your printer is not printing is to go ahead and just double check your ink, open each cap. Just double check and just make sure there's ink in each inkwell. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to check once you made sure that there's ink in the inkwells is go ahead into setting and let's go ahead and make sure all the heads are selected, and let's go ahead and load ink for 15 seconds only. Now after you do load ink for 15 seconds, go ahead and pull the print head to the left by pushing the L button. And depending how many heads you are, all of them should be full of ink and varnish. Now assuming that both ink pads were full of ink, the next step is we have to check to see the status of the headboard. And the headboard is pretty much the other end of where this ribbon cable runs. So on the model ZZ2F, it's contained here, so I'll go ahead and unscrew it and show you what's in there. Now with the cover off, I'm going to show you what the headboard looks like when everything is normal. And then after this, behind it, I'm going to show you when there's an error. And you'll see everything is green here. So this would be everything's normal on the headboard. And you can see the 4 ribbon cables going into the headboard here. You can see that here. So it's 2 ribbons per print head. So now that we identified that we have a red light on the headboard, now we have to determine which head is giving the issue. So I'm going to lean to the side here, and you'll see the cables are numbered, matching the numbers going to the print heads. So they're all numbered. These 2 go to one print head, these 2 go to the other. So basically, shut the printer off, unhook the first 2, turn it back on. Alright? Once you restart it, if you don't get the red indicator anymore, the one you just unplugged is the problem head. If it's still on, you'll shut the printer off, plug those 2 in, unplug the other 2, run the same test. Alright, that'll identify which cable or print head is the problem. So in this example, these first 2 is H1, which is printer head 1. These 2 are H2, which is printer head 2. This corresponds, the color here is H1, and this varnish here is H2. So in this example, let's say H2 is the printer head or ribbon cable that's having the issue. Based on the test we did, this would be H2. So what I would need to do is pull the dampers out, put them in a plastic bag so they don't leak all over, put a zip tie around it, 4 screws on the bottom of the print head, and then you would lift the print head out. Okay? Once you do that, you'll see the ribbon cables going into the bottom, and most likely you will find a ribbon cable that possibly looks like this, which is burnt. You can see that, and you can see that here. Let me hold it better for you. There's a burnt ribbon cable. Now, all because the ribbon cable is burnt does not necessarily mean the print head is bad. Okay? In your kit, you received 2 replacement ribbon cables. Okay? You would take this ribbon cable, go ahead and perform the ends and bends of the one you're replacing, and you would go ahead and replace it, and then reseat the print head and put the 4 screws in, and then see what happens. It may be okay at that point. If the ribbon burns again, then chances are, or it doesn't print anymore afterwards, then the print head has gone bad. But you need to do this step first. Alright, so here is the ribbon cable, the original one that came with the printer. And if you look closely at it, you can see where it got burnt. Okay, so that's the one. So now I went ahead and I copied it, made my own, put it in the print head, started it up, and as you'll see here, once again, it burnt. Alright, so at this point, 2 cables are burnt. Now it's time to look at the print head. Now let's see if I can get you to see this. If you look from left to right, from about the 5th to the 9th pin, you can see it's melted and missing. So that should be showing in the video. So it's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th pin is completely gone. So it doesn't matter how many cables I put in it, the head, it's going to keep burning the cable. So it's time to replace the print head. Now, one thing to pay attention is the orientation of the ribbons. Okay, they can't be backwards. They have to be in the same orientation that you see here. So on the headboard, you see the blue side, you see a white side, a blue side, and a white side. You see that here. Okay, if you go down to the print head, you can see the white side is facing up on both sides and on the other head as well. So take pictures, do what you need to do. You have to put the ribbon in the same orientation as it came out. Okay, and additionally, when you pull these ribbons out, you have to lift them straight and push them in straight. Okay, you don't want to bend the pins on the ribbon cable. If you bend the pin on the ribbon cable, you'll have to use a different one. Those pins have to be straight. Now, after changing the ribbon cable, you turn the printer on. If you have solid green indicators, try and do a test print. Print the color flag. If that works, you're done. If not, then your printer head needs to be changed. All right, if you change the ribbon and it's still red, or if it's not printing after the new ribbon's put in, then you need to replace the print head. Now that we've gone through the troubleshooting steps, let's go ahead and cover what we can do to prevent this from happening in the first place. So now, taking a closer look at my defective print head, there's a couple of things to notice. That where the ribbon cable goes in to the print head bottom or top, it's not very deep. Okay, so there is a rubber gasket that fits around this. That it's on the printer now, so you pull that off when you change your print head and you put it on the new one. So there is a rubber gasket that sits around here, but I just wanted to point out, not very thick here. So I'm just going to go over some things to do to avoid that buildup of ink or protection fluid underneath the head that could cause a short. Okay, so a couple of things we need to do. If you are going to flush the head out, you have to make sure that you put tissue all the way around so none of it gets around the print head. Okay, tissue would have to be put all the way around before you would go ahead and flush the heads. Another thing, make sure we're cleaning the head every day as part of our daily maintenance. Put your tissue under there. And let's make sure we're giving that a wipe. Okay. All right, another thing would be, when you're putting your protection fluid in, only fill it up maybe halfway. Do not fill it up all the way. because if you remember, this lifts up into the print head. Okay, so protection fluid halfway, that would be it. Do not fill it up all the way. And then lastly, if you think you need to load ink because it's printing light, I would only suggest loading it for 5 to 10 seconds max, just to push some ink through. Again, you want to avoid filling up that ink pad all the way to the top. Welcome back. Troubleshooting this printer issue isn't very difficult, and the solution shouldn't take you too much time to fix if needed. Hopefully the prevention tips that I gave you will help you from facing this problem in the future. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, post them below. And if you're going to be in the Davenport area and want to see any of these printers, go ahead and make an appointment at CustomizeEngrave.com. And as always, thanks for watching.